we've always been told, okay, he's just had this thing against Jews or whatever. Here's one of the arguments he said in one of his speech. After more than 800,000 children of the nation had died of hunger, undernourishment, at the close of the war, we witnessed 1 million head of milking cows driven away in accordance with the cruel paragraphs in a dictate for the human apostles for the world force as a peace treaty. So there's situations where you think to yourself, okay, well, what would you do in a situation where there were kids that were dying, food was taken from you, and you go a little further here when I was looking at it, and some of the stuff he's saying, it sounds reasonable. Yeah, and so then now I look at here and it says he's saying, France to the French, England to the English, America to the Americans, Germany to the Germans. His perspective was is that he just wanted to have his own control over his area, basically, and that people came into their land, they started taking positions of power and relocating assets and resources outside of the country. Actually, at the end of the war, after they had lost resources to Russia and which was allied with Britain and them, they were also then forced to give away stallions, bulls, cows, rams, all of this under the name of peace. How do we handle something that's got that much heat behind it? Because
I'll take a stab at that, but can you bring up the page that you had highlights, because there was a key sentence there I wanted to outline. Yep, this one. Okay. So one of the things that you have to understand, Germany lost World War One. So that was a huge hit to the kind of collective ego and culture of Germany. And some of this stuff could be true, but what I want to focus on is this last sentence. Above all, German culture is, as its name alone shows, is German and not Jewish. And therefore, its management care can be entrusted to members of our own nation. So he has basically said any Jew is not part of Germany.
We can't say that because certain race are with us that we don't eat in our home, or because they are with us that we don't get jobs, or that because they are with us that our children don't go to school or they're not progressing.
I agree.
But it's just that we are not just comfortable with them around. And that's why we're saying, let's fight.
But this is the acts that were in it. We can just read this here. The mandatory should be responsible for placing the country in such a political, administrative, and economical conditions as to secure establishment for the Jewish national home as laid down by the, and they go on, and it's like, okay, that's kind of, I don't know how in America we would be okay if like something said, okay, you guys out of your own pocket now have to fund people from China moving in, and then go on to say stuff like, they're going to have to be responsible. So ensuring the rights and the positions of the population, not prejudice, facilitate the Jewish. See, I would just remove Jew from that whole part right away. I would just say facilitate for immigrants or something more generic. But this came from the document that I saw here. I saved it here. And this was the British White Paper of 1939. And this was toward Palestine, which is making me think, is how much of this is being repeated? And why would you ever force another group to take in another group and then tell them that they also have to make that group have political power? And then how do you deal with when things don't work out for the people? How do you, I don't know. I don't have answers to these questions. I feel like I'm posing them. I don't want to think like I'm defending any of these circumstances. I'm just trying to get to the answers to the hardest questions that I don't have answers to.
Anthony, I'm going to take a stab at a few of these.